Now I know NBA Summer League might not be for everyone. Frankly, it can be a bit hard to watch at times. The lack of actual plays drawn up, the lack of skill compared to the actual NBA level, all the chaos and mayhem on the court at times, but I for one really enjoy it and like watching the mixture of young players in the court, second and third year players in the court, and then even guys that have fallen out of the NBA, trying to make their way back to the NBA and back on an NBA roster. Which for the Lakers Summer League team, and for the case in one player in particular on their team, that happens to be Darius Bazley. If you have never heard about him or really don't know anything about him apart from being on the Lakers Summer League team, Darius Bazley is a former 4-year NBA pro, left last year in the NBA to pursue an international career, mainly I guess from not being picked up by a team and not wanting to play in the G League, opting to instead play in the CBA, the Chinese Basketball Association, where he played pretty well and put up roughly 13 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, nearly 2 blocks per game, which definitely is the most impressive part about it. I mean, as a 6'9" small forward to small ball center, that definitely stands out and obviously has been standing out for him too in Summer League. But even with that, it wasn't enough to get him back on an NBA roster, at least not quite yet, which led to him joining the Lakers Summer League team, and he definitely has stood out from the California Classic portion of it so far at least. Now the question is, can he carry it over to the Las Vegas portion and maybe make their team thereafter? Who knows, but up until this point he definitely has played well. Throughout the California Classic portion, only 3 games here mind you, he did put up 17.7 points per game, 8.7 rebounds per game, nearly 2 blocks per game, and actually over 2 blocks per game, let me correct that, 2.3 per game in 3 games played. Once again, very impressive and very telling about his defensive ability at his height and versatility on the defensive end as a 6'9" forward. Yes, even can be a small ball center at times. And between all of that, the defense, offense, scoring, simply creativity, and how engaged he has looked on the court, really on both ends of the court, it's definitely caught the attention of many Laker fans, with many hoping that they sign him to their team and maybe potentially via 2-way contract. Though I hate to break it to you, but they really can't do that. Even if they wanted to, they simply can't offer him a 2-way contract. If you're not familiar with 2-way contract rules and 2-way player eligibility, you can't be signed to a 2-way contract unless you have under 4 years of NBA background and a certain amount of game limit too, both which Darius Bazley does happen to be over. Being a 5-year NBA pro, playing majority of that time with the Oklahoma City Thunder, also playing with the Philadelphia 76ers, Phoenix Suns, and Utah Jazz, amounting to 237 total games here, and that's obviously too much for a 2-way contract. So like I said, even if they wanted to, they can't give him that 2-way contract. If they want to sign him, or if Darius Bazley hopes to make their team, it will have to be through their 15-man roster. And well, there could be a pathway to do that if they want to go that route. Like we've talked about here on the channel, they do have a non-guaranteed contract in their team, that being the contract of Shake Milton. They could simply waive him and therefore open up a spot on their team. But do they want to do that for Darius Bazley? Are they keeping it for a maybe better fitting free agent, maybe a more proven free agent, rather than somebody that's simply showing out on their Summer League team? I think that's probably the route for them, but then again, I wouldn't completely rule out Darius Bazley here. He's definitely impressed in Summer League, and like I said, if he carries us over to the Las Vegas portion of Summer League, maybe that might make them reconsider and actually invite him to training camp and potentially onto their 15-man roster too. Now there's obviously a lot of if to go with that. If he can do that, if he can maintain what he did during the California Classic portion, if he can keep showing out, and if he can keep impressing their team. Obviously a lot with that, but up until this point, he's definitely been the standout of their Summer League team in my opinion. Yes, you can point to guys like Cole Swider, also playing well offensively, but between the combination of both offense, defense, and simply energy and I guess really experience on the court too, Darius Bazley has by far been the standout for me anyways. So with that in mind here, we'll talk further about what he has to keep maintaining to actually make their team, or maybe a different team and get back to the NBA level, why he is even in this spot to begin with, what he has to improve in his game to not only make it back to the NBA, but then stay in the NBA thereafter, either with the Lakers or maybe a different NBA team. But we'll talk about that and what Darius Bazley has to do going forward. So without further ado, talking about how he got here and why he is in this current position, playing for a Summer League team despite being 25 and having a pretty thorough NBA background, even showing some good potential and at one time being a 14 point per game scorer in the NBA, It's definitely been quite the road for Darius Bazley. And if you ask him, he would tell you that he simply wasn't ready to be an NBA mainstay quite yet. His game wasn't fully developed, and now he kind of realizes that too. I mean, if you look at the pathway he had to the NBA, definitely an unconventional one. Initially committing to play college basketball at Syracuse, being a 5-star high school player, but then bypassing college to pursue a professional path, initially planning to join the then G League Ignite, which is no longer a thing, but then actually canceled that and then chose to train independently, bypassing college, bypassing the professional route, neither playing in the G League or for a overseas team. Other players tend to play in the NBL or maybe the Chinese Basketball Association. Darius Bazley did none of that, neither college or professional, simply training independently and still managed to get drafted nonetheless. No, he wasn't a lottery pick like many thought he would if he went to college or if he went the professional route, but he was the first round draft pick nonetheless. Back in the 2019 NBA draft, the Utah Jazz selected him, then traded his rights to the OKC Thunder after they took him with the 23rd overall draft pick. And while initially it went pretty well for him, having plenty of opportunity with the OKC Thunder, then a rebuilding team with plenty of opportunity, trading away Chris Paul that same year, trading away pretty much half their team other than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, and the many draft picks that they had and even still have to this day. And like I said, early on it was definitely working out for Darius Bazley, definitely having a long leash and trying to find his role in their team and find his role in the NBA for that fact, even putting up 14 points per game in the 2020-2021 NBA season, but he never quite became efficient enough to become a mainstay in the NBA, didn't really find his role on defense despite showing a lot of defensive ability and really unique talent on defense, but he never quite found his niche and that led to the OKC Thunder moving on from him, trading him to the Phoenix Suns, where he then got traded again shortly after, being traded to Philadelphia, then being waived and ending up in Utah, once again being waived after that point, and like I said, that led to him moving on to the CBA, now coming back to the Lakers Summer League team, and he does look a bit different this time around. Yes, still does tend to be very sporadic offensively, isn't a reliable 3-point shooter yet, which is the thing that he has to improve offensively. I mean, if you're not a traditional center that's a great lob threat, great rim protector, switchable defender, and actually can't play center full time, then you pretty much have to have a 3-point shot in the modern NBA. Which up until this point, Darius Bazley has not proven to have, at least not reliably, only being a 31% career 3-point shooter, which I'm sure you've heard Summer League reporters or announcers talking about, that kind of being the stain on his offensive game. Apart from that, is actually very creative and actually a pretty good finisher around the rim, even being a pretty good lob threat, and does have the ability to be a small ball 5, but doesn't have the ability to be a full-time 5, and really can't fill that role as a long-term basis for a team. Can in some matchups, but can't in others, and therefore has to find more of his niche in a different area, which will involve 3-point shooting and having some kind of reliability with it. But if you talk about his defense and what he's shown directly with the Lakers Summer League team, it's definitely a very unique characteristic, having the ability to truly switch 1 through 5, which he has shown and is showing once again in Summer League, being a very good rim protector. Like I said, blocking over 2 shots per game in Summer League so far. Yes, only 3 games played, but he's shown this before too, even at the NBA level. During his NBA career, averaged nearly 1 block per game and only 23 minutes per game, per 36 minutes translating to 1.2 per 36 minutes, even having years where he blocked roughly 2 per 36, like back in 2022-23 for example. And then on top of that, even like I said, can switch, can truly match up, and even for the entirety of a game, match up with 2s, 3s, 4s, then switch on to centers and even play 5 in some matchups too. That's definitely the intrigue here with Darius Bazley. And well, I think that would be a lot more intriguing to the Lakers if they didn't already have a player kind of like that, with some similar struggles go with it. That player being Jared Vanderbilt. Much like Darius Bazley, is very unique and very switchable and very versatile on defense, having the ability to truly defend 1 through 4 on the court, even better than Darius Bazley for that fact, even at times can play a small ball 5, but then can defend the point of attack as well. But then offensively, having some of the very same struggles and primarily with the 3-point shooting. Has shown some ability, has shown some good moments, but ultimately comes down to being an unreliable 3-point shooter that's even an offensive liability on the court at times too. Now overall, I would put Bazley above Vanderbilt offensively, whether you're talking about shooting ability, scoring ability, ball handling ability, creativity on offense, and pretty much everything. I definitely would put him above him. Though regardless, they do have some very similar struggles, primarily again with the 3-point shooting, and until Bazley gets above that and above Vanderbilt significantly, enough to put him above him not only offensively but comparable defensively, I'm not sure that he's shown enough to overtake Vanderbilt's spot, and I really don't think they want to have two of them on the same team. Two guys that really can't be relied on offensively, mainly from a 3-point shooting standpoint again, but if they're playing off the ball and don't have a kind of elevated role within the team offensively, what do they do out there? We've already seen it time and time again with Jared Vanderbilt, so how do you make both Vanderbilt and Bazley work within an ideal rotation? I'm not sure you can, so that's probably what they're thinking about here, even with Bazley showing out and showing that he should be on an NBA team. Again, would absolutely love to have him for a two-way contract, but unfortunately that's simply not a possibility with him. Isn't two-way eligible, and I don't think I'd waive Shake Milton or Jordan Goodwin for that fact, both of which could be an option from their non-guaranteed or pretty much non-guaranteed contracts to make room for Darius Bazley. Now I definitely think he should be on an NBA team again, but I'm not sure that team should be, or really can be the Lakers for that fact. Between them having Jared Vanderbilt, between them needing more reliable shooting and simply more two-way talent, which up until this point he has not proven to be able to do, or at least not consistently, I'm not sure they can afford to sign him to their team. Now maybe, and hopefully he can prove me wrong during the Las Vegas Summer League portion, going out there and knocking down 1 to 2 3-point shots per game at maybe a 40% clip, I'd absolutely love to see it. I'd love to be proven wrong about him and that he can become a reliable, consistent offensive player and 3-point shooter for that fact. But until it happens and until he proves me wrong and pretty much everyone else wrong, then I'm not sure the Lakers can afford to sign him, at least not to their 15-man roster. I mean, I'd love for them to give him a training camp invite. I don't think he's officially gotten one quite yet, so he definitely should. Maybe give him more time to prove it or show what he has to offer for their team. Or maybe even give him more of a look for a different team and give him a little bit more spotlight for that fact. I think he's earned it. I've really enjoyed watching him and I'm hoping for him to get back to the NBA. But with all of that being said, what do you guys think? How impressed or maybe not impressed have you been with Darius Bazley? Has he been the Lakers Summer League standout for you, or if he hasn't been, who has been and why have they been? Let me know your thoughts and if you think Darius Bazley should make their team or simply get back to the NBA from his Summer League performance so far in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one, and if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.